In 1979, under the watchful eyes of San Quentin's guards, 3 inmates, led by a notorious escape artist, orchestrated one of the boldest prison breaks in American history. With nothing more than a makeshift kayak made of duct tape, plastic sheets, and pure determination, they paddled right past the fortress walls, outwitting one of the nation's most secure prisons. Before we get into today's video, if you're into thrilling stories like this one, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notifications so you never miss out on our latest uploads. Thanks for the support. Now, let's get back to the story. 20 miles north of San Francisco sits California's oldest prison, the infamous San Quentin, set on a sprawling 432 acres that overlook the bay. Inmates refer to it as the Arena, or Gladiator School. The massive, fortress-like prison is seen as impossible to escape, surrounded by 20-foot stone walls and guard towers with highly skilled marksmen. San Quentin is mostly enclosed by these tall walls, and there are more walls inside the various cell blocks. On the fourth side, instead of walls, it's bordered by the San Francisco Bay, which acts as a natural barrier, much like Alcatraz. The dangerous waters would likely mean death for anyone who tried to swim to freedom. The prison houses some of the society's most dangerous, high-profile criminals and is home to the state's only death chamber. San Quentin State Prison, a maximum security correctional facility for men located in San Quentin, opened in 1854. It is the state's oldest prison and the only facility in California that conducts executions. San Quentin is also among the most well-known prisons in the United States. There have been many escape attempts from San Quentin, including one in which inmates had managed to dig quite an impressive tunnel, stopping short of only about 50 feet from the bay. But perhaps none of the escape attempts were quite as creative or entertaining as the one orchestrated by 3 inmates in 1979. These inmates, led by Forrest Tucker, a seasoned escape artist, managed to flee its ironclad grasp. The escape was a stunning mix of ingenuity, resourcefulness, and bravery. Tucker, alongside his 2 partners, set their sights on freedom, all while under the vigilant watch of prison guards. Using makeshift tools, clever manipulation, and sheer determination, they pulled off what seemed impossible. Forrest Silva Tucker, the mastermind, was no stranger to escapes. Throughout his life, Tucker had escaped from prison 18 times successfully and 12 times unsuccessfully, earning him the reputation of an escape artist. Born in 1920, Tucker's life was marked by crime and numerous incarcerations, each of which he attempted to escape from, often successfully. In 1957, Tucker served time at Alcatraz prison for bank robbery and was placed in a segregated building after an apparent escape was detected. He later participated in a sensational escape from Bakersfield Hospital, where he drove more than 100 miles while handcuffed and in prison pajamas. At the time, he was in prison for his participation in the celebrated Mutt and Jeff Bandit team that plagued California police for nearly 3 years in the mid-50s. Tucker was transferred to San Quentin, a California state prison in Marin County, north of San Francisco. By the late 1970s, Tucker, nearly 60, planned an escape from San Quentin, perhaps benefiting from a basic knowledge of boat design and construction, having grown up near the St. Lucie River in Stewart. Tucker knew he needed a skilled crew to pull off the escape. He enlisted the help of John Waller, a lifelong criminal and self-styled bon vivant known as Rabbit. Waller's expertise lay in building boats, a crucial skill for their escape plan. The third member of the team was William McGirt, a 38-year-old armed robber who had previously escaped from a San Francisco jail in 1970, and was also known as the Deckhand. McGirk's role was to keep their plan secret and study the tides to determine the best time for their escape. Each man brought a unique skill to the table, forming a team that complemented one another. Together, they engineered their plot to escape San Quentin's watchful eyes. With their crew assembled, the trio began devising their escape plan. Tucker, with his charismatic personality, found ways to manipulate guards into giving him more freedom than most inmates. While McGurk and Craig quietly worked on obtaining materials, Tucker orchestrated his logistics, ensuring everything fell into place. Tucker provided the plans and design of a boat, while McGurk kept watch and studied the tides. They managed to secure the rubberized material that would be used to make the inflatable kayak, an unbelievable feat in itself. The men set to work on constructing their escape vessel. Waller, who worked in the prison industries warehouse next to the Bayside loading dock at San Quentin, had access to all the necessary tools and materials. At the end of each prison workday, the convicts hid their finished boat parts in the warehouse. Piece by piece, they constructed the kayak in secret, all while avoiding detection. They built a crude and a 14-foot-long, 30-inch wide kayak with duct tape, wood, formica, and sheets of plastic from a prison industries warehouse. The boat's prefabricated parts were hastily but skillfully assembled by the convicts. The men chose August 9, 1979 as their target date, coinciding with the Marin County Yacht Club's bathtub rowing competition. By painting their boat in the colors of the yacht club and cleverly painting available blue prison caps and sweatshirts bright orange to blend in with the members, they hoped to avoid suspicion. The boat was made to look like one from the nearby yacht club, and Tucker even stitched a hat with the club's name on it. The day of the escape arrived. With the kayak complete and everything in place, the trio didn't return to the prison main security area after work assignments. But now they faced the final and most dangerous part of the plan. How were they going to carry a 14-foot boat all the way from the workshop to the water without being seen? The stakes couldn't have been higher. If they were caught trying to escape, there would be no mercy. San Quentin had a strict policy: no warning shots. The guards didn't have to give a heads up before opening fire. They had the authority to shoot to kill, and they had done so before. Although guard tower number 4 was unmanned, the prison was full of eyes. Other inmates looking for any chance to improve their own situations. In prison, you can never be sure who might snitch, who might be looking for a favor, or who might just be an informant for the guards. Tucker knew that in situations like this, it was often better to act quickly and decisively rather than overthink the plan. Both he and Waller understood that this part of the escape would demand quick thinking on their feet. Then, something unexpected happened. On August 9, 1979, a lazy delivery driver had left his truck unguarded at the loading dock of the warehouse. Tucker told Waller to check it out, and sure enough, the keys were sitting right inside a warehouse drawer, practically begging to be taken, or at least repurposed for a quick 75-foot journey to the Pacific Ocean. John Waller decided to create a diversion while Tucker and McGurk transported the boat over to the water. Tucker and his accomplices snuck it from the prison warehouse and with great stealth carried the boat and put it into the water right below guard tower 4. And after Waller returned after driving the truck back up, returning the keys, and casually made his way to the water. Then they launched into the chilly waters of the San Francisco Bay. The prison's location by the water, once a barrier, now became their pathway to freedom. They paddled their way out of the prison right in front of the guards. Their craft was sound, but strong winds caused giant swells to flood the boat. It sank before they made it past the edge of the prison property at San Quentin. Fortunately for them, they were wearing sweatshirts and hats that Tucker had painted bright orange with the logo of the nearby Marin Yacht Club. They paddled frantically to keep their boat afloat. Frantic rowing brought the boat within view of Guard Tower 3, where an officer considered calling the Coast Guard to render aid to a pleasure craft that appeared to be in trouble. All while a prison guard was searching for these very inmates outside the prison walls of San Quentin. The guard asked if they needed help. McGurk held up his wrist and shouted, "We just lost a couple of oars, but my Timex is still running." "No problem," called back one of the kayakers. "My Timex is still ticking." The guard laughed and resumed his search, still unaware that 3 prisoners had escaped. Constructed of plastic sheeting, wood, duct tape, and formica, the craft held together long enough for its occupants to paddle several hundred yards to freedom, within view of the tower guards. The plan was risky, and there was no guarantee it would work. The waters of the bay were notoriously cold and dangerous, but the determination of these men overcame the odds. The kayak held up, and the trio paddled their way towards freedom, leaving San Quentin behind. The three men rowed the boat along the shores of San Francisco Bay until they were able to go ashore just outside the prison property and escape. After the three turned up missing during the afternoon count, guards found the kayak beached beyond the prison walls. On one side was its name, Rub-a-Dub-Dub Marin Yacht Club. That side, the one facing the prison, had been painted bright blue. The other side was left unfinished. The guard would later remark that he had only spotted 2 men in the craft, leading to speculation that the third was covered in hiding. Nevertheless, the guard never suspected his escapees were speaking to him. After all, would a 14-foot kayak in the bay sporting the words Rub-a-Dub-Dub Marin Yacht Club? Marin Yacht Club was one of the area's most prestigious clubs. Seemed like a plausible escape craft? Once the escape was discovered, a manhunt was launched. Local and federal authorities scoured the area, but the trio had vanished. Forrest Tucker, the Mastermind, who was due for release in 1985, remained elusive. His reputation as an escape artist made authorities fearful that he would continue to evade capture. McGurk was recaptured in San Rafael 2 months later. Waller was captured in Gilroy in April of 1980. The Marin District Attorney Office thought it had an open and shut case against William McGurk and John Waller. But they were tried twice for escape, but both times amused jurors refused to convict them. The jurors could not unanimously decide that Waller and McGurk had really escaped from the prison. The case was tried a second time, and for a second time, 12 citizens could not reach a verdict. Once again, it was a hung jury and a mistrial. Willie thanked the jurors as he left the courtroom, again with a quick humor. The district attorney decided not to try the case a third time. The case was dismissed and the convicts returned to San Quentin to finish their original sentences. Tucker managed to remain free until 1983. He continued his life of crime, robbing banks and eluding capture as if it were his second nature. Forrest Tucker, 61, was arrested in connection with a credit card fraud at the Jordan Marsh department store in the downtown shopping district on September 18th. The fugitive was arrested by a store security guard while allegedly trying to use stolen credit cards to buy more than $100 worth of coats, a Jordan security officer said. He was located in Boston when he was caught in a credit card scam. The judge freed him, especially after prosecutors rejected trying him for the prior prison escape. Turns out Tucker was quite the escape artist. He had previously escaped from a jail hospital ward by picking the lock on his leg irons. In June 1983, Tucker was still on the run after escaping from San Quentin several years earlier. Forrest Tucker met his third wife after a chance meeting at an exclusive beach club in Florida in 1979, shortly after Tucker had escaped from San Quentin. By 1982, they were married. He was also still robbing banks with the help of his over-the-hill gang partner, Theodore Green, and living in Fort Lauderdale, Florida as part of a retirement community. The two managed to take more than $1 million in cash and jewels during their crime spree. The FBI caught up with them in a West Palm Beach parking garage, about an hour north of Fort Lauderdale. And while Green surrendered peacefully, Tucker did no such thing. He zoomed past the FBI in his getaway car, getting shot 4 times in the process. He then hijacked a car being driven by a woman, which he ran with until the vehicle stalled and the authorities captured him. His wife was completely unaware that Tucker was a criminal. In fact, it wasn't until his arrest in 1983 that she discovered his true identity. Despite this, his wife remained devoted to Tucker, famously stating, "I love him. I will always love him." After Forrest Tucker's 1983 arrest, his wife asked him to vow to reform if she stayed with him. He spent a brief period out of crime, living with her in Florida. While living in a retirement community in Pompano Beach, Florida, Tucker by himself robbed an estimated 4 banks in the local community. In 2000, law enforcement apprehended Tucker. The court sentenced him to 13 years in prison at the Federal Medical Center, Fort Worth, now known as Federal Correctional Institution Fort Worth. During journalist Dave Grann's visits with Tucker in prison, Tucker, now frail and in a wheelchair, gave Grann a list of his 18 prison escapes, leaving the 19th escape intentionally blank. Tucker never managed to escape again and neither live out his sentence. He died in prison less than 4 years later on May 29, 2004, at the age of 83. Reflecting on his life, he expressed regret, saying, "What hurts most is that I know how much I disappointed my wife. That hurts more than anything." The 1979 escape inspired fascination with prison breaks. Tucker's story was eventually adapted into a 2018 movie, The Old Man and the Gun, starring Robert Redford, which dramatized Tucker's life and his escapes. The 1979 escape from San Quentin is a testament to the human spirit's desire for freedom, even under the most restrictive conditions. Forrest Tucker and his companions took on a challenge that seemed impossible and succeeded against all odds. Even decades later, the escape of Forrest Tucker from San Quentin remains one of the most infamous prison breaks in American history. A blend of daring, audacity, and the unbreakable will of one man who refused to be confined. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe to Breakout Bank for more videos.